Well, I think that we all understand the notion that incentives matter, but I think Freakonomics is the study of incentives you wouldn't expect to be influencing our behavior, right? So, traditional economics is interested in just the simple study of incentives that behaves where we put our money, among other things. And behavioral economics, which is essentially overlaps with Freakonomics, is interested in more general notions of the incentives that affect what we do. But I think all of the stuff covered in that book has got an element of unexpected incentives that yield unexpected outcomes. If you turn on MSNBC or CNN or Fox News, virtually any oversimplified claim made as part of any political strategy merits a Freakonomics application. I think that there's a bottom lining and a soundbite sort of engineering that happens as a necessary result of our media's process that almost always robs the viewer of some other truth that should be told with that same information. Mm-hmm. So whether you're talking about the spill in the Gulf, or you're talking about Katrina, or you're talking about the overly reduced notion of what's happening with that mosque in New York, I mean, there's always some other truth that could be told that is often avoided because it's just not short enough and doesn't fit in a headline. Freakonomics would be a useful thing for a number of politicians to see, although I don't think it would necessarily enlighten them about the truths that are misrepresented on their behalf, as much as to say, we're watching. We see. Well, I'd say managing is a strong verb for what really happened. I think we created a wish list of people we hoped would work on the movie, and we were lucky to get a lot of our yeses, And then it was a matter of communicating with all of them, and frankly, Chris and Dan, other producers in the team, did the lion's share of that day-to-day work, and I think they did an incredible job. And for me, it was a real honor when we got to the original premiere of the movie to stand shoulder to shoulder with these other documentarians, because I think they're among the best at what they do of who's doing that work nowadays. So it was an honor to be with them on the same stage and talking about this movie. We never had been in the same room together before, all of us. So that was pretty awesome, to finally be together as a group and to hear all of their points of view on their sections in the book for the first time. There's a conversation that got to happen in that environment that hadn't happened before, which was really cool. And to do that in a sort of post-mortem after we'd finally all finished that was the first time that was true. And the authors were present too, and they really liked the movie that they saw, so that was also a relief, because the book is so good. We wanted to honor it. Well, I think the coolest thing about the movie is that each of the sections has got the stamp of its director or directing team, in the case of Heidi and Rachel. So it was awesome to see how different they all were as they started to come in, as we saw the first rough cuts. And in a way, that was the whole reason why I elected to do those interstitial connecting sections, because each of the styles were so different from each other that I wanted the film to have a cohesive flow and tone and to feel like a whole experience, because Gibney's section is super different from Heidi and Rachel's, and still different from Jarecki's, and Spurlock's is its own thing too. So it's all, it needed a sort of headquarters feeling or a home base to return to for the audience. The corruption that underpins Gibney's piece is similar to the corruption in the video game world. at least as I witnessed it. So I think there's some parallels there, as well as sort of, I think that Kong is ultimately a film about social science and sociology and how that group of gamers interacts with each other and reveres one of their own as their king. That's kind of, overlaps with the social science of this movie too. Still in the works. It's a tough one because the doc is witnessed a very special moment, and we couldn't have known the directions it would take as a result of that intense rivalry. And so we're just trying to do the doc justice in the recreation of it, and that's a tall order because you don't want to remake it if you're just going to do the exact same thing. You want to merit it. Don't want to do a shot for shot reconstruction. You want to sort of tell the story that happened that we weren't necessarily present for with our documentary film cameras, right? So it's a challenge. We're in the middle of it. I think seeing the whole class of films that were made by the Verité filmmakers, the Bob Drews and the Maisels brothers and Pennebaker, and that whole group made a bunch of great movies in the 60s and 70s that really were impactful for me. Other documentaries that I really aspire to in a way are, I think American Movie is an incredible movie. Hands on a Hard Body, if you've seen that one, just amazing. It's about a Nissan dealership in Texas that has an annual contest. The last person with their hand on the truck gets to keep it, and as many people can participate as can get their hand on the truck, right? So it lasts days and days and days, and it becomes a real test of sort of stakes and human perseverance, and it's just a wonderful film. It's really simple, really great.